Hello, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode. This is episode number 242 for November the 21st, 2023. And I'm wishing all of my American subscribers a really great Thanksgiving holiday. I know you guys are getting really geared up for it. It is a huge thing in the United States, not so big here in Canada for our Thanksgiving, but ours is long gone. That was last month. So anyways, I hope you have a great one. And of course, that means after this Thursday, it's kind of the official beginning of the Christmas season, isn't it? So yeah, crowds to shop for. Okay, so let's take a look at what I've been working on. Well, you've seen this in many pieces. And there are many more pieces now. And this is the Bundles of Joy pattern. This was the second choice that my subscribers made for me to make for the 4S Club collaboration. And I like this pattern. After a while, it got a little bit repetitive. I had to make 48 of these blocks, but I kind of did it like a factory style kind of thing, assembly line. After I'd done the first 5 or 6, I pretty much knew what I was doing. Yes, I did make some mistakes, but I pulled them out and started again. And once I had that all down pat, I laid them out in sort of like little mini kits within a kit sort of a thing, so that I could just do a lot of chain sewing and move through it very fast. And on the pop-up sew day that we had this past Saturday, I was able to finish the 48 blocks. And then I made a couple of extras as well, because I have a kind of an idea for this quilt. The quilt, once it gets all laid out and has the sashing in it and everything, I think it's going to be a very pretty quilt. And it's got a Christmas feel to it because I did use Christmas fabrics. I had a bundle of Christmas fabrics I bought way back in June when I was in Halifax at the Canadian National Quilt Show. And I had in my back of my mind when I bought that bundle that it would be eventually a Christmas quilt if I found the right pattern. Well, I think this pattern worked out very well with it. And by the way, if you can't tell from this picture, it's called Bundles of Joy because those are bundles of fabric that are all wrapped up with a bow on the top, not unlike what you'll buy in quilt stores at times. So yeah, it's the Bundles of Joy basically is, I think, playing off of the idea that, maybe you'll find a bundle of great fabric under your Christmas tree this year, all wrapped up and ready to go, kind of a thing. Or just, so they look like presents, that kind of thing. But over to the left-hand side of the screen, you can see something a little different. These are a couple of prototypes of cats. How this came about was, when I was looking at this quilt, I noticed that there were a couple of pieces that have little circles or little slices of candy or hard candy. If you look down here, right on near the bottom, this row on the top, about the third one in, I don't know if you can see my arrow going around here or not. But no, that's not the one I wanted to point out. Look here at the top. That's a better one. I kind of covered it up here. But if you look at this one, the third one in the top row, those little circles look like eyes or maybe sunglasses. I'm using my imagination here, so you need to use yours as well. And they look like cats, kind of like cats. So I decided to experiment with this idea, and I grabbed some scrap pieces of fabric I had that was sort of a brown, this textured one up here, and I put some buttons on it for eyes and the nose, and I did a little bit of decorative stitching with my sewing machine to put on his whiskers, which are a little crooked, and his eyebrows sort of thing. Well, and now this one's curled down in this picture, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. Then I decided, okay, when it comes time to quilt this, if I put one of these little cats on here with buttons on, that's going to cause me havoc. So I thought, well, I better do maybe something like applique. But then I got thinking about it and thought, I wonder if I can find an embroidery file for my embroidery machine that would put the face of the cat on a block. And you want to know something? There is. So let me show you here. So here you go. Now I've made these three little cats with their cute little innocent looking faces, but I decided no, I wanted to add more. Because what do cats do at Christmas time? If you've had a cat, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're near the Christmas tree and they're usually chewing on or playing with the ribbons on the gifts. And sometimes they can be very aggressive and start opening the gifts, even though they're not for them. You know, maybe if they could read, but they don't. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to put in a few of the blocks with claw marks on them? And that's what you see here in these three. And I found an embroidery file for that. Yes, there's an embroidery file for everything. You need to get an embroidery machine if you don't have one. They're fun. So I have three of these sets. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, when I lay out the blocks for the quilt, I'm going to add these blocks in, take 6 blocks out, or well, actually, it'll be 3 blocks out because these were blocks already made and I just added the claw marks on them. But I'm going to place them somewhere in the quilt, sort of randomly. That's why I only made 3. I don't want this to become the focal point of the quilt. I want this to be a sneaky little surprise. What I mean by that is, you know, when you first look at the quilt and you see all those blocks, that's what your eye is going to go to, all the different bundles. But then suddenly, oh, look, that looks like a cat. Wait, look at the package next to it. That cat clawed that package, and he's looking really innocent. So it kind of tells a bit of a story. And I think this makes the quilt a little more interesting by putting this in. Now, I've really never, ever done something like this with a quilt before, and I know many people do, like not necessarily putting cats, but, you know, add something that's unexpected. So I'm doing it with this one, and I have in my mind how the quilt will be laid out and where those blocks will go. But I think it's just kind of fun. So I'm going to change the name of this quilt from Bundles of Joy to Bundles Destroyed. And maybe actually call it both names, Bundles of Joy / Bundles Destroyed, or Bundles of Destruction. No, just Bundles Destroyed. You want the rhyme. Yeah, kind of a thing in there. Just for something a little fun. So I will show you the final version of that quilt when I do get it done. So as you know, I've also been working on getting my Christmas bags together for the ladies at Ultimate Sewing. And I have them all now pretty much finished up, but I thought I would show you what goes into each bag and what they look like. So I made a little video clip showing just that. I thought you might like to see what I'm giving to some friends of mine for Christmas this year. Little thank you gifts for their great service. This is the ladies at Ultimate Sewing. And I thought I'd put these little bags together of various items, and I thought I'd give you a tour of what's in the bag. Now, the bags themselves are vinyl, and these I got from Amazon, and they've got a little snap back here at the top to keep it all together. So on the outside, I have a little greeting, little Christmas tag that has Walter's and my name on it, so they know who brought it for them, because when I deliver these, they may not all be working on the same day in the store. And I want to make sure that they get these and they don't get lost in the shuffle. So, of course, there are gnomes. I have my latest creation on the 3D printer, my Christmas ornament gnomes. They have a little hoop in the top of them, and you can tie them to your Christmas tree, or you could put them on a gift package, or whatever. Many uses for gnomes, you know. You know. And then, of course, one of my freestanding lace embroidered gnomes. This is the girl gnome. Some of them will have the male gnome. So let's look inside the bag. Okay, so inside I have, and you have, oops, over it fell. I have one of my mug rugs, but this is a dual purpose mug rug. I've shown you this before because on the back there's a pocket. And in the pocket I have inserted one of my gnome seam rippers and a set of cards. And on the back, they're note cards that they can write on. I found these on the internet and bought a set of them and printed them out of my printer. And each one has a little different saying that goes with quilting or sewing. So those fit right nicely in this little pocket. And there's room here for, you know, if you want to put in a pair of scissors, maybe some thread, maybe some, there's a little piece of thread on there, maybe some needles, whatever. You know, you're going to a class or retreat, you could pack some of your most essential things in this, and then when you get to the retreat, take those out, turn it over, put your mug on it. So that's one thing there. What else is in the bag? Well, you got to have, if I can get it out of the bag, you've got to have some Christmassy style libations. So I've got a packet of salted caramel hot chocolate from Tim Hortons. And those of you that aren't Canadian, Tim Hortons is an institution here in Canada. I mean, everybody goes to Tim Hortons. There's one on every corner. I found these on Amazon, and they sound intriguing. Hershey's, they're called chocolate bombs, and you drop them into the hot milk, and they melt, and when they melt and open up, little mini marshmallows float to the top. Kind of a cute novelty item. Now, I did try one of these, and I have to say, they don't impress me much, but they're okay. They taste all right. Something a little different. What else is in the bag? Well, I have a couple of other things I made. These, and I wrote on a tag what these are because I don't think it's readily understandable. They look like coasters, but they're not coasters. There's this little slit right here in there. Notice that slit isn't opened up. Got a jump stitch there. Take that out. Okay, oops, another one. Should make sure I go through these. But essentially, with this little slit, they fit over the base of a wine glass. They're wine charms. So, you know, if you're like me and you go to a party and, you know, you put your glass down, you come back to find it, and you pick up another glass thinking it's yours and it's somebody else's. Well, I mean, maybe I'm just talking about what I do. But anyways, this is a way so your guests can identify which wine glass is theirs. And also, they're just kind of festive at Christmas time. So that, and I made this. Now, you'll probably think this is useless. Walter did. But it's just a little thing that's got a pattern of a quilt design in it. And I put a ring in it. And I bought some of these. These are for, they're bobbin minders. You know, you take your bobbin that you've wound up and you just slip it in here and it keeps the thread from rolling off of it. So I stuck those on there, but you could use this for keys, I suppose. It's kind of big for your pocket, but maybe in your purse, or maybe you have some keys or something in your house that you hang up and that you don't use that often, but you might want to hang this on it. You could put a pair of snips on here, whatever, and throw it in your quilting bag or your sewing bag, whatever. This is just a little novelty kind of idea that I came up with. So all of this, of course, fits in this bag, as you've already seen, and this is what I'm giving to the ladies at Ultimate Sewing. I do have another set of gifts I'm going to show you here in just a second that I put together for my hairdresser. So I like to give my hairdresser a little gift at Christmas time, and I have made her in the past some table runners. I've made her a quilt, fancy tote bag, things like that. So this year I thought I would give her something I made earlier in the year that you have seen, and that's the African, the African table runner made from the African fabrics. And I talked all about this on one of my previous Idiot Quilter episodes. So I thought it's just sitting here and I'm probably never going to use it, so it would make a nice Christmas gift. I also made some coordinated napkins. Now each napkin is a little different fabric, but all the fabrics go together with this. And I thought it's kind of a nice little set, and I think she'll like that. I hope she does. And just in case she doesn't, she can always enjoy Belgian chocolate. I got her a box of Belgian chocolates. I got them at Costco, but I've had these ones before, and they're actually quite good. And they already come gift wrapped, which is a bonus in itself. So I've got some of my Christmas presents wrapped up and ready to go this year. Okay, moving on. Tomorrow is a Wednesday, because I always do Idiot Quilter on a Tuesday. So tomorrow's a Wednesday, would be Wednesday, November the 22nd, 2023, in case you're watching this sometime way in the future. And we have Sewing with Stephanie and Steven starting at 9 a.m. A few of you kind of got the times mixed up, and I understand why, because I've had usually my pop-up sew days are at 8 a.m. But the Sewing with Stephanie and Steven is at 9 a.m. I had a couple of people come on around 8 o'clock the other time, and I just let them sit there because I'm just a nasty bugger. No, really, I was trying to get myself together for that too. But by the way, when you do come on, and maybe some of you panic because you think you've got the wrong date or something, because I don't let you in immediately. If you come in before 9 o'clock, depending, I might not let you in until right at 9 o'clock. Now, the only reason for that is because Stephanie and I have a business meeting before we start. So yeah, and that is stuff you don't need to be privy to. What are we doing? Are we saying nasty things behind your back? Well, Stephanie would never do that. Never mind. No, really, no. We have things we need to discuss because Stephanie and I work on other projects as well for our channels. So anyways, that's why. So just be patient with us. We'll let you in. We try not to be late. If we say it's at 9 o'clock, and we do, you'll be in by 9 o'clock or slightly there before. So not to panic. And we had a pop-up sew day on Saturday. It was fun. I had a great time at that pop-up sew day. Well, I always do. But I don't know. I think the day left me in a very positive mood, and they usually do. I'm a little tired after them, but that's a good tired. And I got, like I said, I got 48 blocks done on that quilt, and that was a great thing. And from what I heard from other people that were there, they got a great deal done as well. And we had some laughs. We found out about some new products that people have been searching. Although this is, I think, one of the first pop-up sew days where I actually didn't buy something. And that's not, for those of you who've never been on a pop-up sew day, it's not that we have a store or anything. It's just that people show their latest acquisition, or they talk about something I've never heard about or others haven't heard about before, and we all go, ooh, I'd like to get my hands on one of those. And of course, we all go to the internet, find it, buy it, kind of a thing, if we want it. And I'm the worst offender of that because I'm very easily enabled. I will tell you that. So yeah, I see something, I go, ooh, pretty, I have to have that. And of course, I have my few enablers out there who force the enabling. I'm not going to mention any names, Jan. Jan was very busy trying to get me to buy this fabric that I saw online, but I can only find it in the States, and it's mega amount of money. And doesn't mean I won't get it yet. I may do some more hunting for it because I really like it. Something called Mardi Gras by Timeless Treasures. And yeah, it was readily available in the States, but it was, by the time you figure in the exchange rate, don't make me explain exchange rates again for the umpteenth time. And shipping, don't make me explain shipping to Canada for the umpteenth time. It was going to be a small fortune. So yeah. But I'm still going to do a little bit of a hunt. I may find it yet somewhere in the backwoods of Canada where I can get it for a little bit more reasonable price because I don't have to do the exchange rate and all that kind of thing. Just as an aside, as you know, Walter and I are going to Stephanie Stitch's New Year's retreat in Georgia, and she just put out a email to all of us going to the retreat about the fact that there is a quilt store there that she hopes will open up for us one day when we're there. And she says they have a good variety of fabric and the whole bit. And if any of those people that own that quilt store out there are listening to this, and you probably are not, in fact, I'm pretty sure you're not, please open up. I'll make it worth your while. Oh yes, I intend to shop. So yeah. The unfortunate thing, too, and this is still an aside about an aside, Stephanie said that a lot of the quilt shops in the area of where the quilt's retreat is located close between Christmas and New Year's. Damn. But anyways, we'll see. We'll see. But I'll make it worth their while. Believe me. They'll see me coming. There'll be a big cloud of dust like the Tasmanian devil, and I'll be in there, and suddenly the shelves will be bare. And they'll all be in my car. Okay, so the pop-up sew day, we didn't have any drama, which was good. And for those of you that are regulars for pop-up sew day, you know about that one little incident. We don't allow those kind of incidents, and that will never happen again. Okay? It's a fun day. very supportive people, very creative people, and it's great seeing what people are working on and all that kind of stuff because it's very inspiring. So I came away from the pop-up sew day refreshed, inspired, ready to sew more. Yeah. Okay. Oh, when will the next pop-up sew day be, you may ask? I don't know. That's why they're called pop-up sew days. I don't think there'll be one well, I know there won't be another one in November, mainly because this next weekend coming up is the busy weekend for, all the Americans with Thanksgiving and all of that kind of stuff. So the next one will probably be sometime in early December. I'm thinking possibly the second Saturday in December. Maybe. I don't know. Time will tell. And when I have it figured out, I will put it in the show notes for all of my vlogs a few days before. And those of you on my mailing list will definitely get an email with the Zoom link for it and get all the particulars. If you are not on my mailing list for this and you're really interested in being on the mailing list, just click on the link in the show notes for the About area of YouTube. I say area, used to be a tab, because YouTube has moved it all over the place now. Yeah, they've been doing a lot of things lately that are just screwing us all up as creators. Anyways, probably screwing up people as subscribers as well. But anyways, that's where you'll find my email address. Just drop me a line saying, hi, I'd like to be on your mailing list. It's Jane Doe. Give me both your first and last name, please. And your email address, and I will stick you in the mailing list and anything I use that mailing list for, which is usually just for the pop-up sew days. So you're not going to be inundated with a whole ton of emails. I don't have a newsletter. I don't have a website. I'm not a business. So yeah, no worries about that. And I keep it all very confidential, so no worries there either. But if you want to be kept up to date as to when the next pop-up sew day, that is probably the best way. Okay, enough said about that. So this week I thought I would show you what's in my quilt bag number 1. I bought those storage bags and I've been filling them with my quilts. So this is part 2 of that particular little trunk show of mine.
Now this quilt you have seen before if you've been a regular subscriber to my channel. This was a quilt based upon a quilt that I received back in the early 80s, late 70s from my grandmother. My grandmother was an excellent quilt maker, although I don't ever remember seeing her make quilts. She did all kinds of sewing and knitting and crocheting and projects like that. But she made each of her grandchildren a quilt, and she couldn't decide whether the oldest grandchild or the only girl grandchild out of 5 of us should pick the quilt they wanted first. They were all the same design, but they were all different colors. And I really wanted the blue one, but my brother got it. Now, actually, ironically, just recently I acquired that blue one back, and it's not as nice as I remembered it was. In fact, I think the one I ended up with was the nicest one because maybe it was one she made after several others before that, and she got even better at it. This is not that quilt. This is my version of that quilt. I had the original templates that my grandmother used. She made her own templates. It's her own design. Everything on her quilt was hand sewn, and including the quilting. And she cut all the pieces out with a pair of scissors, and she used for her template, or templates for this, old cereal boxes that she cut apart. So I had those still because my mother had held on to those after my grandmother had passed and they'd cleaned out her house. And then when my mother moved into the nursing home and I was cleaning out her apartment, I found them and I brought them home. And my idea was to duplicate my grandmother's design, but I used 21st century technology. Yes, these are Drunkard's Path blocks that you see in this quilt. And sewing curves at the point when I did this, and this goes back to, I think, January of 2021, I was not up to sewing curves yet. I'm proud to say that I have done it since, and I am able to do it. But I thought, let's use the technology to do this in a different way, and this is what I did. I created a 4 actually, I took a square, I think about 8 inches, 9 inches, something like that. And I cut out a circle, a whole circle, placed it in the middle of the square, and then I used my sewing machine to do a blanket stitch all the way around the edge. Now, I cheated with this. Well, not cheated. I used 21st century technology. I used a circular sewing plate that fits onto my sewing machine, and basically you put the square on a little pointy piece, kind of like if you think of an old record player. It's kind of like you centered the little point in the center of your circle, and then away it went, and it went around, and it did all that stitching very evenly. Then I took my rotary cutter and I cut each square block into 4 segments, and then I sewed the segments together in this quilt. Now, I didn't have to worry about the stitching coming out because the way that each square was cut, the part of the stitching that was kind of cut through got buried in the seam allowance. I thought I was very clever when I did this, and I still think I'm very clever in doing this. I do. I have to pat myself on my back because this is one of my favorite quilts for so many reasons. One, I was able to sort of duplicate my grandmother's. I changed a few things. She had a scalloped border. I don't like scallop borders, so I didn't do that. And of course, I picked the colors that I like. But essentially, this is the same as her quilt. And I have shown her quilt in older videos on here and compared the two. So you'll find those in the back catalog of my videos as well. But yeah, it was really easy to do once I figured out how I was going to do the little drunkard path blocks. And as far as quilting was concerned, well, I didn't have Lucy at that point in time, so I just did it on my domestic machine with a fair amount of cursing and swearing. But I just did walking foot, wavy line, up and down vertically, evenly spaced out across the quilt. So yeah, so I call this Grandma's quilt. This last quilt has a name, and I think I've got the name right, but I don't know why it's called this, but it's called Doves of Hope. And I finished this in April of 2022. In my mind, I thought I made this longer, back even further than that. But according to my journal, that's when it was there. My journal might be off a little bit. But either way, I really love this quilt. This was my foray into black and white and gray. I usually stay away from those 3 colors as far as making them dominant in a quilt. White as a background, sure, black sometimes with it, but I use them sparingly. But this particular quilt screened for that. And what really caught my attention with this design was the diagonal. The black on one half, the diagonal, then the white on the other half. This is a fairly complicated quilt, and I'm trying to remember if I had any problems with it. And I don't think I did, but I also I'm thinking that this was a class. But in 2022, I don't think I may have taken a class in 2022, just, but the pandemic was going on. So, well, we were just coming out of it, I guess. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Oh, well, I can't remember exactly, but I did take it down to, I didn't have Lucy at the time, and I took it down to Whirls N Swirls, and I did it on one of their machines using a pantograph. And I just did sort of an overall meandering kind of thing. And yeah, I think it turned out quite nice. Now, there is one mistake in it. I just saw it now. And I'll point it out to you. Right here in my quilting, I have a gap. I'm not sure what happened there. Does that gap go all the way through? Yeah, it does. It shows up in the white more so than anywhere else. And you can see it here in the black too. And I think I repositioned the quilt incorrectly at that point because I didn't have a lot of practice at that point in time. So I do like it though. I think it's a gorgeous pattern. And as I said, I don't think it was that difficult to put together. because primarily it's a lot of half square triangles, small ones. It was a lot of pieces, I remember that. But the unique feature of this quilt is that diagonal split in the background fabric. So I think that was called Doves of Hope. Don't ask me why it would be called Doves of Hope, but I can't find anything else. And I can sort of picture the pattern in my head, but you think I could find the pattern now? Probably not. So that takes me to the end of the first storage bag. So I'll get those all put back away. Seems a shame to put all your quilts away. It'd be nice to have a place where you can put them all up on display, like a quilt show. But back in the bag they go, but I'm going to label the bag with all of these quilts so I know what's in the bag for future reference. By the way, I just remembered because I discovered that there was a sleeve on the back of this quilt. I had put this one into the guild that I belonged to in their quilt show at the time as well. Didn't win anything, but just to let you know, I actually had a quilt in a quilt show once.
And that takes me to the subscribers quilt of the week. And this comes from Kristen Lauster. Hope I said your last name right, Kristen. And well, here's her beautiful creation. This week's quilt from a subscriber comes from Kristen Lauster, and she writes, here is the picture. The pattern is Prancing Peacock by Judy Niemeyer at Quilt Works. Now, I have never done a Judy Niemeyer quilt, but they're always very, very lovely, and they look very, very complicated, and that may be why I have never attempted one. I think I have one of her patterns here in my stash of patterns, but after seeing Kristen's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous creation, I may have to pull out that pattern or get a pattern and do one myself. But let's just take a look at this. This is a gorgeous quilt top. I say quilt top because I don't think she has it quilted yet. She's just got the top finished. And it'd be interesting to know how she plans on quilting it, whether she's going to do it herself, is she going to do it on a long arm or on a domestic. I think I would be afraid to try quilting this on a domestic machine. Or is she going to send it out and have somebody else quilt it for her? But either way, the piecing is absolutely gorgeous. And well, Kristen, you should be very proud, and I'm sure you are, of this quilt. It's stunning. I just can't say too much about it. It's just stunning. I love the colors. I love all of the flying geese. I love the curves that are in it. It's just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful quilt. So thank you, Kristen, for sharing that with us. Now, the YouTube of the week is a site that I just came across. I did not know about this before, and it's called the Quilting Compound. This week's YouTube channel is the Quilting Compound, and I just recently found out about the Quilting Compound because the person who runs this, and I've forgotten her name, and I'm so sorry, she actually was a guest on Sean, the guy who sews, Saturday Morning Live. And so I went and I explored her YouTube channel, and there is a lot here for everybody to check out. She's not really a newcomer to the YouTube community. She has over 75 videos on her channel, and she has quite a number, 8,200 subscribers. So, you know, she's been established for a while, and maybe you know of her, but I did not. So let's just explore a little bit about her channel. So her videos down here, now she seems to do quite a few unboxings. She does primitive gathering subscription box. She has a Sew Sampler subscription, but she also shows video or fabric hauls, and she does tutorials as well, like Press Flowers Quilt Along Block number 7, Fat Quarter Stash Buster Quilt, etc. There are quite a few different ones here. So if you like unboxings of subscription boxes, if you like sew-alongs, and if you like working along with someone who knows what they're doing, actually, I'm going to qualify that. One of the videos I watched, and I think she probably does this on several of them, is she shows you when she's having made a mistake. And that I admire, because we all make mistakes. There's no such thing as having a perfect quilt the first time. And I like her honesty and I like her transparency about the mistakes she makes, because that's what I do too. And I think we can learn from somebody else's mistakes as well. So that really pleases me. And you can see here she has lots of things. The Paducah Quilt Show video. Lots of choice here, lots of viewing pleasure, entertainment, and education. And she has a very nice, personable presence in her YouTubes as well that makes you feel that this isn't someone preaching at you. This is someone who's working right alongside with you. So if you haven't checked it out, do check out the Quilting Compound. So what future projects am I working on? Well, when I was in September out on the west coast of Canada, went to a cute little quilt store on Granville Island, which is part of Vancouver, the city of Vancouver, and it was called the Cloth Shop, and I had that on a video back when I did the video about that trip. But when I was there on their bargain table, their sale table, they had a kit, and they call it the Bally Christmas Runner, and it was batiks, and so I thought, yeah, 50% off, I'll go for it. So I picked it up, and when I got home, I promptly put it in where I put all my kits and things and forgot about it. So I dug it out the other day because it is supposedly a Christmas runner. I say supposedly, and I'm going to hold that thought until next week's episode, because I am now already started working on this pattern, and I just it was a very simple pattern. I finished it yesterday, the top, and got it layered and on Lucy, and I got it quilted, and today I'm going to put the binding on it, but I don't have it ready for you right now. So I will talk a little bit more about it next week and show it to you. However, in the meantime, here's what the kit is, what I'm talking about. This week's future project I should get to really soon, and it looks pretty simple to do it. And this is a kit that I found in my stash of kits, and I forgot that I had purchased this. When we went out to Vancouver last spring, I went to a little store called the Cloth Shop on Granville Island, just in Vancouver. And I came across this kit. Now, this pattern is not available on their site. It's probably fairly old. If I remember correctly, I think it was on sale for 50% off in a bin of different kits and patterns that they were trying to basically get rid of. And it's called the Bally Christmas Table Runner, and I think it's called the Bally Christmas Table Runner because it is Bally batiks that came in the kit. And of course, I'm a sucker for batiks, so when I saw this and it was 50% off, I thought, yeah, sure, what the heck, let's get that. And then I got it home, promptly put it away, and forgot all about it until the other day when I stumbled across it. And as I said, if I want to have this done for this Christmas, I may have to get started on it very soon. Although I don't think this is going to take very much time. As you can see in the pattern, it's just basically strips of the fabric cut in different ways and different lengths. Now, I'm assuming that when they say leaves and trees and poinsettia and boughs, that the fabric that's included in this, and I haven't actually taken the fabric out and looked at it beyond what you see right now, so I haven't unfolded it, that's an indication of which fabrics to use and what they look like. I think it's going to be very colorful, very quick to assemble, just by looking at this set of instructions. And yeah, I've got to get on with that. As I said, this might make a really great palette cleanser. Something I like to do that's simple, fast, and in between projects. So unfortunately, I cannot give you the link to this pattern because, as I said, they don't seem to have it on their website anymore. But if you want to check out their website for other patterns, they are theclothshop.com. And unfortunately, that pattern that came with that kit is not available, but guess what? You're not going to need a pattern to do this. I can tell you that. Again, next week on Idiot Quilter episode, I will explain what I mean by that. Okay, so the Idiot Quilter presents nothing this week. But I do have an interview lined up. It's going to happen next Tuesday, so it will not be posted next week. It will come up probably the week after that, but I do have another one coming soon. Now, I put out a couple of more feelers according to your suggestions for who I should interview, and on those feelers, I have not had an answer. And just as an aside here, I digress again. I appreciate it when you send me suggestions. Some I can't work with or I've done already. That's fine, whatever. But I do usually contact these people you suggest. Some of them, you can find their email address in their YouTube channel, on their YouTube channel. Some of them I have to drop it into their comment section. And some of them, they just don't send me back any kind of reply one way or the other. I am fine with a rejection. You know, if you say I'm too busy, whatever, I can't do that, I don't want to be interviewed, that's fine. But the ones who ignore me, that, rightly or wrongly, that sets up a tone for me. It means you either think you're too good to be interviewed or you hate my guts and you don't want to be interviewed by me. Whatever. My imagination works overtime. But, you know, common courtesy would say if you saw the email or you saw the comment and I put in my email address, common courtesy in my world would say you should acknowledge that you got it, and then, you know, if you don't want to be interviewed, say so. Won't hurt my feelings if you don't want to be interviewed. You know, we all have our preferences. We all have busy schedules, things like that. But just to ignore me, that's just rude. And I've had more than a few of those kind of things. And from a few names that you have given me and have repeatedly given me to, you know, interview these people. So just letting you know, your suggestions do not fall on deaf ears. Okay? I try my best. Okay, so moving on. Online quilt store this week is one here, and you know I only do Canadian ones for the time being. Creemore House of Stitches. And here's my review of that site. This week's online quilt store is called Creemore House of Stitches, and I'm assuming that's located in Creemore, Ontario. So let's have a look at what they have to offer. So here's their front page. They say, need help with your gift giving ideas? Are you looking for that special gift? So it looks like they have a Christmas box. Each box will be carefully curated and filled with items from 4 categories that they wouldn't get for themselves. Place your order early. And I guess you can check that out. Here they have a quilt along, Merry Merry Snowman, $15. That's a cute quilt. Now, what happens with this? This adorable collection is a 10-month program running from October 23 to July 24. You then have plenty of time to have a new quilt ready for next Christmas. Follow along. So registration is $15 and a monthly fee of $30. That's expensive, but it includes the fabric for each block. So I suppose it's not that expensive. It is spread out over a 10-month period, so that's interesting. Flannel Friday. The days are getting chilly here in Central Ontario. 'Tis the season to be comfy and warm. Each Friday through Thursday from October until Christmas, a different flannel and yarn collection will be on sale both in-store and online for 1 week. Check back often for another selection. Okay, well, that's kind of interesting that they offer that kind of thing. So it looks like they don't just cater to quilters, but also to knitters. They have information about their website. Fabric is sold by the meter. 40 inches with the 40 by the meter, 40 inches with the fabric, 42 inches unless specific. Okay, that line I don't really understand. Okay, so they don't really say, are they selling it by the meter, their prices by the meter, or by a half meter, or whatever. We'll check that out in a minute. They have a yarn collection, some more flannels that they're featuring. It looks like beside their fabric, they put what size it is, and that tells you 0.5 of a meter. If I put in 1 meter, yeah. So basically, now this particular, it's flannel though, is $22 a meter. Okay, well, let's get into their fabrics. Fabric cotton. And this is how they have it organized. Animals and birds, nothing there. Children's kitchen florals, novelties, panels, kits, and pre-cuts. Okay. So batiks. All right, so does this mean that I need to know? It looks that way. Basics, okay. Canvas, chroma, color works. Let's see, canvas, $4 from $4. Okay, for a fat quarter, and then it goes up here. So if I want a meter, $14.99. Well, that's more of a blender, so you usually expect those to be a little less money. That's not bad for that kind of thing. What I'm having trouble with here, though, is navigating how I find fabrics. So let's go back here. I guess I have to know the name. It doesn't look like I can see. Well, maybe I can. No, I can't. It doesn't look like I can see all the fabrics at one glance. So let's pick something. Do I see anything that I'm familiar with? Not really. My Canada. Let's check that out. Okay. So I'm not finding fabric here. I'm finding wool. I'm finding patterns. I'm finding novelties. Oh, there's some fabric. Not telling us though. Okay, if it says from $0 Canadian, what does that mean? Okay. And it still does. Does that mean they don't have any? Yes. Oh, they have some of that though. So if you see $0 amount, it means they're out of stock with that. Okay, that's a little confusing, not very straightforward. Let me pick one more thing. Just, I don't know. None of these I'm familiar with. Okay, again, we have all of this. This kind of looks like you can click on one of those categories, but you're going to get the same stuff. So you have to browse that way. Not impressed with their user interface for this. Not impressed at all with that. That is leaving a bad taste in my mouth. Price-wise, their fabrics are what you would expect. They're average. Let's check out their kits and pre-cuts. Okay. So these are kits. One pre-cut showing here. That's expensive. $71.95. 42 10-inch. Oh, it's a 10-inch, but that's still a little on the pricey side, I think. Let's go back, see if they have any more pre-cuts. They only have 2 pages of stuff, and they're all kits. They only have the one 10-inch layer cake for pre-cuts. Again, not impressed. Okay, they've got something called By Annie Notions. Okay, so of course, what you would expect, patterns, soft and stable. Some fold-over elastic, vinyl, zipper for handbags, mesh. Okay, the usual stuff. I have to say, I'm not really very impressed. Let's look at Christmas. Okay, here we go. Now we have to know the name of the fabric line. So, $20 for a panel. Then if you want, oh, this is very, very confusing. Okay, if I click on a picture, does that come?
Now, I don't like how this works at all because I'm really not sure what I'm buying here. And, you know, really, in my opinion, if you're going to an on-site line site, it should be very intuitive to make your shopping experience, you know, simple. Not impressed. Let's take a look at wide backs. Fabric is sold by the meter. 1 meter. 40 inches is not a meter, by the way. 39 inches is a meter. A little thing, but they're making it sound like you get more in a meter, one inch more. It's not. A meter's 39 inches. I'm sorry. So let's see, what have they got? $34. I guess that's a meter. That's expensive. High end. Oh, there's something that's not so expensive. Wow. A white tone on tone. Wide back, $61 Canadian. Oh, that's 2 meters. Okay, that one only comes in 2 meters or more. I usually buy 3 meters, $91.50. Okay. Again, very, very confusing. All right, let's check notions. Yeah, usual stuff. Quilting. Batting. Okay, what do they have in batting? Hobbs. Popular brand, one I use all times. Heirloom. Okay, 80/20. That's the one I usually use. So, 2 meters of bat, $41.98. 3 meters, $62.97. Well, what's that work out at a meter? 2 meters is... Okay, I see. So they're rounding it up. If they really do cut it at that length, because they said 1 meter's 40 inches. It's technically 39. But if they're giving you an extra inch, that's okay. So I take back my negative criticism of that. $41.98. So that's what? Roughly $21 a meter for batting. Well, about average. It's just I question this. Like, why these are the only sizes you can get? So if I need 4 meters, I'd have to buy 2 of that, I guess. Okay, well, I don't know. That's weird. I've never seen it done that way before. Okay, just for yarn, we won't worry about yarn and that kind of thing. About us. Yeah, they've got their hours for their brick and mortar shop. Evenings by appointment. Makes me wonder if they're operating out of a house. I don't know. They do call it House of Stitches, so I wonder if it's out of somebody's residence. But I guess I'm never going to know. Well, they got a block in the month as well. Yeah, okay, so this is Creemore House of Stitches. I'm really not impressed. I'm sorry, I don't usually give negative reviews, but what really puts me off about this is their interface for getting around and figuring out what it is you want to buy. They really, I think, need to rethink that. Because you know what will happen, at least in my opinion, maybe not. Maybe people like to do the rabbit warren running around with your head cut off kind of search for things. I'm sorry I'm being very negative in this review, but this has really rubbed me the wrong way. So, yeah. Anyways, you make up your own mind. That's my mind. That's Creemore, House of Stitches.
So that brings me pretty much to the end of the episode. So what's coming up? Nothing. Nope. Projects to be done, things to get together. Always making something. Got a new little project happening on the 3D printer right now, but I'll talk about that on a vlog, on one of my vlogs, probably next week, if it works. But one thing, and I hate bringing this up, I really do, because it sounds like I'm begging, and probably I am. You know I set a goal. The goal for, by the end of this year, by midnight, December 31st, when we're ringing in the new year, I want to be ringing in the fact that I have now 10,000 subscribers. I am close. I am almost just a couple of people away from about 9,600 subscribers. Means I need 400 more in the next, 5 weeks or so. Now, my heart won't be broken if I don't hit that goal. In fact, there's not much I can do to hit that goal. It's really up to the people out there. So if you're somebody who comes along and watches me, on a, frequent or semi-frequent basis, and you have never subscribed, hit the subscribe button, and that will help. Also hit the like button. That helps too. Yeah, I'm not going to beg for it. It would just be fun. Now, somebody asked me on Stephen and Walter Live on Sunday, because I mentioned this then there. That's not good grammar. No. I mentioned at the time about the 10,000 subscriber goal, and somebody said, well, when you get 10,000, are you going to have something special? Because a lot of people do when they hit milestone ones, and I'm thinking about it, and I don't know. I'll come up with something. If the world was a different place, and when I say that, I mean financially, I would love to send out to every one of my subscribers one of my gnome creations. But that's not going to happen because I need about $1 million to do that, shipping alone. Yeah, and that kind of thing. Maybe I'll plan a special event of some sort, an online, virtual, some kind of special event. I don't know. I'll see. But I got to get there first, right? So you can help me out by doing that. All right, that's enough of me begging and, yeah, it's just begging. Okay, anyways, it's time to go. So I hope you have a great Thanksgiving if you're Americans. I hope that everybody else has a great week, and we'll see some of you maybe tomorrow on Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. And yeah, check out So Chatty later this week, and of course, Stephen and Walter Live on Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern. Have a good one. Bye for now.